Now for teacher B, once again, the level of increment equivalent to his education earned is 10. So that's 10 minus the qualification standard required, which is a bachelor's degree, and that's increment level 6. So the actual increment level would be 10 minus 6 is equal to 4. Take note of this. Now let's go back to the weight allocation. Hi everyone! In this video, I am going to share with you how to compute your points for the education earned in the new DEPED ranking guidelines. It's really sad to say that with the new guidelines, Teacher 1 applicants are required to have a master's degree or at least have taken few units in master's to earn points. Later on, I am going to show you an actual computation so that you will be guided. But first, let's get to know a few terms to avoid confusion, because you might hear me saying something that might be unfamiliar with you. So let's start with the word increment. According to Google, increment means an increase or addition, especially one of a series on a fixed scale. To simplify that, it means we will identify the increment equivalent to the education that you earned first. To do that, we need this table. I hope you can see what's written here, but don't worry, later on I'm going to zoom this picture in so that you will see the actual values and its equivalent. So here on the left side, you will see the increment level, and we also have the range that's from and to. I'll have a thorough example on this once again during the actual example. Next is we have qualification standards. This refer to the minimum requirements for positions in the government service in terms of qualifications in education, training, experience, eligibility, and competency. Take note, qualification standards will be deducted, or I mean your equivalent qualification standard will be deducted from the increment level equivalent to the education that you earned. This might be confusing for now, but later on, I know this will make sense. After we have finally identified the level of increment equivalent to the education that you earned, we will move on to this table. This is the rubrics for computation of points for education, training, and experience. Let's focus on education first. Now, in level 2 and level 3 increments, you'll get a total of 4 points. Level 4 to 5 increments, you'll get 6 points. Level 6 to 7 increments, you'll get 8 points. And level 8 or more increments, you'll get a total of 10 points. I know this is still confusing, but let's understand this better with the actual example. This is the formula to get the actual increment level. First, we will find the increment level equivalent to the education that you earned minus the qualification standard. So you already have an idea as to what qualification standard means. And you will get finally the actual increment level. Once we have identified the actual increment level, we will refer to the weight allocation table. Now, let's have an actual example. Let's start with the basic, or let's start with the easiest. Let us say teacher A is a graduate of Bachelor of Science in Secondary Education, major in English. If we refer to the table, bachelor's degree to less than 6 units earned towards the completion of a master's degree is increment level 6. So let's substitute it. We have identified that bachelor's degree, which is earned by teacher A, is equivalent to increment level 6. And again, the formula states that we need to deduct or subtract the qualification standard. Now, the qualification standard for a person to be able to teach in high school or elementary is also a bachelor's degree. And that is also similar or equivalent to increment level 6. Therefore, our actual increment level is 6 minus 6 is 0. Now, once we have identified the actual increment level, we will refer to the weight allocation table. So take note of this. Now, refer to the increments from minimum qualification standard. Do you see 0? Of course, there's none. Therefore, once you're only a graduate of bachelor's degree, automatically you'll get a total of 0 point. For our second example, we have teacher B, and he is a graduate of Bachelor of Science in Secondary Education major in TLE, and he had also earned 15 units in Masters. So let's get to know the equivalent level of increment he had earned for his education. So let's go back to the table. So the units earned by teacher B is 15 units. So it's here. 15 units earned towards the completion of master's degree, 2 less than 18 units earned towards the completion of a master's degree. So that's equivalent to increment level 10. Now let's substitute. Now for teacher B, once again, the level of increment equivalent to his education earned is 10. So that's 10. Minus the qualification standard required, which is a bachelor's degree, and that's increment level 6. So the actual increment level would be 10 minus 6 is equal to 4. Take note of this. Now let's go back to the weight allocation. Going back, the education of teacher B is equivalent to increment level 4. And under increments from minimum qualification standards, 4 to 5 increments, that's equivalent to 6 points. Therefore, teacher B, who had earned a bachelor's degree plus 15 units in master's, will get a total of 6 points for his education during the ranking process. So I hope this video helped you understand on how to compute your points for your education.